You're tuned in to BS with Joe, the podcast where common sense still makes sense. We break down the news, the culture, and the crazy, one blunt conversation at a time. Buckle up. This is going to be good. Chicago, the Windy City, built on stockyards, steel, and stubbornness. And right now, it's back in the national crosshairs. Not because of murder rates, but because Donald Trump says he's going to straighten out Chicago the same way he did Washington, D.C.
Good. Somebody's got to. If the mayor won't do his job, let Trump roll in the National Guards and get it done.
Let's set the record straight. Chicago's violent crime, it's down. Homicides, down nearly 30%. Robberies, down 35%. Shootings, down 40%. The numbers don't scream crisis. But Trump isn't pointing at crime stats, he's pointing at immigration. Chicago has been a sanctuary city since 1985. And sanctuary means the police don't enforce federal immigration law. They don't check papers, they don't hold people for ICE. That's the real fight here.
Exactly. What's the point of laws if cities just ignore them? Trump's not picking a fight or not picking on Chicago. He's enforcing federal law, period.
This week, the talk turned into action. The Trump administration officially launched Operation Midway Blitz. 300 ICE and DHS agents staged out of Naval Station Great Lakes began targeting undocumented immigrants with violent criminal records. The plan? A 6-week campaign, and Chicago had no choice. City Hall says the feds never picked up the phone.
And why should they? Sanctuary cities already said they won't cooperate. Trump's not asking for permission, he's enforcing the laws.
Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order the Protecting Chicago initiative. It tells CPD no checkpoints, no traffic stops for ICE, no cooperation with federal raids. Governor Pritzker says the whole operation is un-American, but here's the reality. Superintendent Larry Snelling admits CPD won't help ICE, but they won't block them either. And the Cook County Sheriff? Still silent. On the street, cops usually back cops. That tension isn't going away.
Exactly. Proper orders don't change the fact. When bullets start flying, local cops and feds stand shoulder to shoulder. That's how it works.
Already, we've seen fallout. In Franklin Park, ICE agents shot and killed an undocumented man, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez. Officials say he tried to drive into agents, dragging one of them, during an attempted arrest. ICE says at least 13 people with violent criminal histories are already in custody. Charges like sexual assault, armed robbery, domestic battery. But reports also say with little or no criminal history, or people with little or no criminal history are being swept up. Vendors, bus riders, caught in the dragnet. The impact is real. Families staying inside, businesses shuttered. Even the Mexican Independence Day celebrations were canceled out of fear.
Yeah, these are criminals. They're not just regular, law-abiding citizens. They came across this border illegally. That's breaking the law. And this is what happens when you ignore the problem for years. If Chicago had enforced the law, the feds wouldn't have to. And by the way, the assaults and robberies and batteries, they go on ignored. I don't care what the city you're in. These are serious crimes.
All right, quick legal note. Federal Law 8 U.S.C. 1324 makes it a crime to harbor undocumented immigrants. But sanctuary cities aren't hiding people in basements. They're just refusing to use local resources to help ICE. The Supreme Court has said the feds can't force local police to enforce the federal laws. That's the 10th Amendment. So sanctuary isn't harboring, it's non-cooperation. Still, politically, Trump frames it as lawlessness. That sells stronger than nuance.
Yeah, I mean, we're going into rule of law. You gotta enforce the laws that are on the books. Whenever you're not, the city breaks down. Just all forms of government breaks down.
Right. And here's the other piece. The mayor loves to point at red states, blaming Indiana and Mississippi for gun trafficking. But look inside Chicago itself. Schools are crumbling, underfunded, losing teachers. Homelessness is exploding. There's whole encampments under viaducts. Migrants overwhelming shelters. Families feel abandoned by City Hall. So, yeah, shootings are down, but does the city feel healthy? Not at all. This is systemic failure, not just crime.
Right, and the whole thing with gun trafficking, that's our Second Amendment rights. I'm their whole trying to stop guns, period, is just not good. You know, the blame on Indiana will not all you want. The truth is Chicago can't manage its own house. Failing schools, homelessness, broken trust, that's not Indiana's fault. It's Chicago's leadership that's falling apart.
Right. And look, if you've got all these problems with failing schools, homelessness, crime might be down, but if you still got those problems, the crime is going to come back.
Yeah. You gotta start with rule of law. You gotta enforce the law. You don't enforce the law, you're just going to continue with homelessness, crimes, assaults, vagrancy, all this other stuff. And yes, homelessness is
It's not technically a crime.
it's not technically a crime, but people with mental illness are going around stabbing people on trains.
And shooting ICE agents.
Yeah, and shooting ICE agents.
Or shooting at ICE agents.
Yeah.
And hitting detainees. But the courts are still in play. The rules have shifted. So federal judges can issue injunctions, but the Supreme Court just ruled they can't freeze Trump nationwide anymore. That means lawsuits are slow, city by city. And meanwhile, remember OMB?
Yeah.
Earlier this year, they paused billions in grants, even after the courts called it illegal. That showed Trump has another weapon, starving sanctuary cities of federal funds, even without Congress.
Good. Why shouldn't they? Sanctuary cities get some money as places as gets the same money as some places that follow the law.
Really?
Good. Sanctuary cities get the same money as places that do follow the law. Why do you not want to cooperate? Fine, but don't expect Uncle Sam to pay for it.
Exactly. So here's the showdown. Trump says he'll enforce immigration law in sanctuary cities with or without permission. Chicago's leaders say no, not in our city. The feds are on the streets now. ICE is making arrests and people are changing their daily lives. This isn't about murder rates. It's about who runs America's cities, local leaders or Washington. And let's be clear, if Trump's goal was truly to help Chicago, to fix schools, tackle homelessness, restore trust, this is not the way. Raids and federal crackdowns don't solve systemic problems. They make headlines. But the people of Chicago, they're still the ones paying the price.
Yeah, and I'll say it again. Laws don't mean something if Washington doesn't step in. Then who will? Chicago's asking for this fight, and now they got it. And so what this all leads down to is ICE needs to do their job. Chicago's blocking them, and Washington's got to step in. Illegal immigration is breaking the law. They're doing all kinds of things that's messing with our economy, and Chicago, I don't think they want to fix any of this. I think they want to keep lawlessness. That's what Chicago's known for, is the mob, right? Well, let's let the federal government come in and let's clean it up.
Yeah,